ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Railway Empire as we continue our playthrough the initial starting campaign. We're now up to Chapter 5, the Sierra Nevada. Now, out of the chapters that form the campaign, Sierra Nevada is arguably one of the hardest ones to achieve a president rating on. However, I've done it a few times lately just to get my hand back in and remember my old strategies, and I think we're going to do pretty well on this. The last two times I've tried it recently, I have achieved the president rating rather comfortably, so hopefully that trend will continue today. So as per, we're going to leave these as their default settings. We're going to jump in. Once again, we are the Industrialist, we are Andrew, and the name of our company this time is the Central Pacific Railroad. So we'll skip the cutscene, and we're immediately going to pause it just while this chap down here says his piece, and then we also have a little something from Beatrix as well. Here's her network down here. She is a competitor, but she doesn't provide any real direct threat. Okay, so he's finished saying his piece. I'll put a little cut in there so we don't have to sit and listen to that. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this map, the first thing you're going to notice is the terrain is absolutely horrendous on this map. You have to be very careful with your track lane, and you are going to have a lot of bridges, and you're going to have a lot of inclination changes. Luckily, we are in 1863, so our starting train is the Philadelphia, although we can unlock the Dragon straight off the bat, so we're not struggling up the inclines with the early day locomotives such as the Grasshoppers, the John Hancocks and the John Bulls. What we'll also notice is a large chunk of the map is unavailable for building. This does unlock a little bit later on as we progress through our tasks, which we shall have a look at in a moment. However, I can tell you what we need to do, what we want to focus on is growing Sacramento, growing San Francisco. I think we need to get 100,000 in Sacramento, and I believe it's 80,000 or so. No, 50,000 in San Francisco. And then for a bonus objective, we need to construct a university here, which requires 60,000. So if we can get these two growing straight away, that would be great. However, as we can see, they both have a meat industry to start with, so they don't have a mutually beneficial relationship. So what we're going to do is, well, we're going to expand to the north. We're going to run into Reading, which has a beer industry, I believe, or we can place one down. We have 3 million to start with, so we've got a lot of money to start with. So we're going to get some beer into Sacramento. We also want to get that into San Francisco. We'll have a passenger line to Gold Beach just to make us a little bit of extra income. This is the nearest wheat farm, and this needs to supply Reading, Sacramento and San Francisco. We want to get these logs into both cities as well. And then we have a whole host of industries around here, which we will utilize via a warehouse to supply both of the cities. We'll also have a passenger line between these two cities because they have they both have meat industries. There'll be no cargo being shipped, so we can just make money from the passenger revenue there. What we're also going to want to do in the not too distant future is set up an express line into Los Angeles. That's fairly straightforward, but it's not something we need to focus on immediately. So then let's get started. We'll first of all remove our starting station in Sacramento, and we'll replace it with a large station instead. And we'll pop that just there. If we head to Reading, we can see we can put down a beer industry over here, which is going to help growth of Sacramento and San Francisco. So we'll do that. And what we want to do is put down a small, in fact we'll go for a normal size, a default size station in Reading. And we want that, in fact no, small station this side, just there. And this will be the link between Reading and Sacramento. And then we're going to have yet another station which is a little bit larger that connects to the wheat. and also as a passenger line into Gold Beach. However, we can't do that until this station has a connection to the network, so we'll focus on that first of all. And what we're going to try and do here is just stay within this contour banding right here as best as we can. And it can be a little bit fiddly to do that. If we straighten those up, and now we want to have one there just to avoid that earthworks that it was trying to create there. So if we can, like I said, stay within this contour band as best we can, we're not going to have a huge constant inclination change all the way through this line. However, we are going to need to drop down as we approach into Sacramento. So that's unavoidable. And that will do. 7% isn't too bad. We could drop that down a little. That'll give us 5% and 4%. But I think let's go for the 7 and the 0. Once we've got this initial climb out of the way, we're relatively straight into Reading. So let's go ahead and buy that. And we want to double track all the way into the city of Reading. And I have just jumped out of Transport Fever 2 into Railway Empire. So I'm having to relearn the track lane mechanics and the controls here, so you'll have to bear with me if I mess things up from time to time. Okay, so let's set that line up straight away. And we're going to have 4 trains down here, 2 starting in either station. There we go. Okay, now we want to connect in to this industry up here. And we're going to be a little bit clever about how we do this. You see, we have a river here, so if we were to build our station, say here, we would have to have a bridge, which is unnecessary expense, and then we have to have a second bridge to get into Reading. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to spend a little bit more money and just build a larger train station which can reach the industry from this side of the river. However, I've just realised we need to supply both Sacramento and San Francisco from this industry, so we will go for the very large station, the 200,000 one, so we have enough platforms that each of the cities that require the wheat can receive it without having to wait for clearance from another train being loaded. Now we want a station here, and we'll go for a large one again for this. We'll pop that there, and we want to connect this line into that station there, so that beer industry that we put down in Reading has a decent supply of wheat. Now we'll pay a little bit extra for this cutting here just to keep the that gradient down as much as we can. You can connect into there. Let's just reduce that bridge length as much as we can. There we go, just to save a little bit of money. While we have plenty to start with, let's not waste it unnecessarily. And then we'll connect that with a double track. Put a supply tower at the rough halfway point, and then set up a line between those two. And again, we'll go for 4 carts into Reading. And then what we want to do is we want to bring logs into both Sacramento and into the city of San Francisco. Logs are one of the starting goods that cities require for growth, so we need to take care of that. And what we're going to do here is we are going to put down a large warehouse with signaling control, and we're going to have it positioned so that it connects to Sacramento, so any goods in here can be drawn upon by Sacramento, like so. And we're going to set this to receive wheat and logs and sugar. And that will do for now. Let's maximize their capacity. This line is going to connect into this existing line that we have here. And we want to get it in just before the supply tower to save ourselves 30,000 on placing another one of those down. We have crossovers here, so we can track straight in like that. And let's give ourselves plenty of room to get some trains in there. Going to be too short for a full load, but that's fine. What we do want is plenty for our trains departing, so they can get out of the way. And then we want to put down a small station up here. And this is going to bring the logs into that warehouse. And then it's a case of running a line from that warehouse into San Francisco, of course. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this slope in increments like this. So rather than going straight down the hill, we're going to come down at an angle. And apart from that initial drop down there, the gradient isn't going to be quite as severe as perhaps it would be. So now let's double track this all the way up to the station itself. Helps if you actually pay for it. Put the signals down, and we will give this yet another supply tower just at the top of the hill there. And then we can run some trains from the logging camp into the warehouse. And we'll go for 4 there. The next thing we're going to do is bring some of this wheat down into the warehouse as well. So if we take a line from, say, there, if we can. Now it's going to be a bit funny about that, so let's try it from this side. And we're going to bring it down the hill and connect in over here. Okay, it's not going to let us connect in straight, so we're going to have to merge together. And we're going to need a crossover as well, which shouldn't be a problem. We can just put one in, hopefully, like that. There we go. And what we also want to do, if we can, although I think we've left ourselves a little bit short here. Okay, so we're going to have to do something a little bit different here. And have another crossover there. And then have this line come in like that. And like that. And we want to make sure we have enough room here for the trains to get out of the way and wait off of these lines to keep these open for other trains. And that should be fine. We have a supply tower here and here, so we don't need another one for this line. And this one is going to, of course, take wheat into this warehouse. And what we want to do is actually make sure it's on platform number 3. That's why we did that little bit there. So we could use platform 3. And again, we'll go for 4 of those like that. And let's just pause it by opening the track lane menu so we can take stock. So the other thing we want to do is connect into Gold Beach as well. Now this is going to be just a little side venture for us. We're not going to grow Gold Beach, we're not going to supply it with anything. It's just a way to make a little bit of money, a little bit of extra profit. Plus it ticks off one of the tasks, which is to connect in to, and why are you doing that? Get back down to ground level. Connecting to 4 industries or 4 cities. So this is all we're doing here. Okay, so you're not... Let's... Oh no, we don't. We certainly don't want that. So if we just did this, we're not going to have many trains running down here, so I don't care about them sharing the line. This is not the backbone of our company. This is just to satisfy an objective. We will put down another supply tower for this, however. And we're just going to do a passenger line only between these two with just 2 trains. One starting at each station. In fact, let's just have them both start from Reading. It makes no difference. So that's that. So we have wheat into the warehouse. We have logs into the warehouse. We'll bring in sugar a little bit later. We don't need to do it straight away. We could also bring in veggies at some point, but for now it's fine. What we want to do is get some cattle into both of these cities. So what we'll do is go to the warehouse, have you accept cattle as well. And we'll have a line from the cattle farm here into the warehouse. So let's see. Now we don't want that. We really don't want that. So let's just bring you down like that. That saves a lot of money, which is always nice. And let's do that. Supply tower, yes please. And you're bringing in the cattle. Let's go for 3 there. Now we're going to have to issue some bonds. I am aware we've got a lot of research points to spend, but we'll do that in a moment. And now we shall connect this to San Francisco, so we can start running some of these goods into San Francisco itself. So we'll put this station there, and you will connect in like that. Again, we don't want to have an unnecessarily long bridge here. We also don't want that tunnel if we can avoid it. But we also want to be careful of our gradients, of course. Let's just try bringing that one down a little. There, that's fine. So we've got 10 and 11%. But I think we're going to be okay.
Well done.
And connect into there. As you saw, we did tick off one of the objectives, which was connect to 4 cities, so that's done. We want, well, it doesn't really matter. And we'll have you leave with a maximum of, a minimum of 4, because we don't want to have you sat around forever and ever and ever, blocking off any trains that are trying to come in and drop off. And we'll go for 4, and let's pause it once again. Now we also want a line. Do we need a line between Sacramento and San Francisco? Probably not, actually. What we do want to do is get some corn into this warehouse as well. And the last good we're going to accept on top of the corn is the milk, because we have that nearby as well. So let's see here. We want a line from this industry down here. And we'll put the station there. That way we avoid this little hill right here. And we'll have you connect in like that. And then run a parallel track back to the farm. Now we want to make sure these trains have enough places to wait off of this line without clogging it up, which they now do. We have a supply tower, so that's taken care of. So now let's set up this line. You want to bring 8. And we'll have 3. And then we want the milk, which is all the way down here. Not too far away, but it's set back a little ways. And again, let's just try and get this in a place where we can avoid that hill there. And that'll do. So for the sugar supply, we can either bring it from this one here, or we can do the one what was just over the river there between Reading and Sacramento. Doesn't matter which we use. And this is going to connect in like this. And then double track all the way back. We should have enough money to afford this. Yes, we will. Put down the signals for all of that. Lovely stuff. Again, we want to make sure the trains to the corn farm can wait off of the main line, so the milk trains can get on through. And let's set up that line. And we'll have 2 for now because we're running a bit low on money. Let's just turn our attention to this, shall we? Let's get the dragon. Let's get standardized components. Let's get counter pressure brakes. We'll get the Rensselaer. We'll get that. We'll get that and that. And that will do for now. We have some staff there, but I'm not going to worry with them for now. And let's just get rid of that number there by having a look at the trains. And that. So there we go. Connect 4 cities. We've almost done this one. 5 out of 8 as well. So that's great. And as we can see, we need to start growing San Francisco and Sacramento both. Sacramento is growing, which is nice to see. San Francisco shouldn't be too far behind, especially if we can get this beer down into the city of San Francisco as well. Now, could we sacrifice one of these goods here for beer? Now, we could sacrifice sugar, because we could bring sugar in directly if we wanted to. So shall we do that? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Let's do that. So let's go down here. Let's sacrifice the sugar and replace it with beer. Max it out. And this line is going to come off of what platform is free? That one there. And it's just going to connect in like that. And like that. There we go, that's fine. So we want to set up a line from there to the warehouse. What we want to make sure is that they do not bring anything back with them, because all these commodities are for Sacramento and San Francisco only. So let's just make sure nothing is going to be brought back. And instead you're just going to take beer down with you. And we'll have 3 trains there, that's fine. So how are we looking? Sacramento is growing. San Francisco at this point in time is not. However, once these trains start flowing down here, we should start seeing that growth generate. Let's go ahead and increase the game speed at this point in time. No suitable freight for this train. Why not? Why can't you bring wheat back with you? Is it because I didn't do that?
As I mentioned, I'll be stuck in Washington over the coming weeks and won't be able to help you for that time. A steam engine needs oil as lubricant.
So the handy thing about having the signaling control here is our trains don't have to be assigned a platform. They will just pick up an empty one automatically, which is great. A little bit more research. What would be useful to us right now? Yeah, let's go for the express trains. We'll need that a little bit later. So San Francisco now is seeing city growth, as is Sacramento, which is fantastic. Not going to bother with that one. Do we have anything else in here we are not yet supplying? We are supplying the corn, the logs, the beer, the cattle, the corn, sorry, the wheat and the milk. So everything that we need is on its way. Nothing, oh, maybe an accountant. Yes, reduces low-co price by 10%. That'll do quite nicely. So now what we're going to do is start laying down an express line into the city of Los Angeles. So let's go, we only need a small station. We'll pop it just there. Now we'll do a direct connection, but we will obviously fine-tune it, because that would be horrendously expensive and we couldn't do it anyway. So now we want to just play about with this line here. Get it to hug the coast, but we need to keep it relatively direct because we want it to be classed as an express. So we are getting close. We are going to have to either tunnel under this, which will be expensive, or skirt around. And given the fact we're still early days, we will just skirt around. We are not anywhere near to the stage where money is no object, so we have to be careful still. Ah, that's a problem right there, so we might have to have a little bridge there. We don't want the bridge that long, however, but I think that is tolerable. Unless we could fine-tune the track placement like that. So there we go, that's better. So quite extensive earthworks through here, but that's fine. That's going to cost us 290,000 to lay that track down. We'll wait for the money to roll in. These two cities are still growing, and that's the main thing we need to keep an eye on here. Everything else we can just leave to do what it needs to do in the background. San Francisco has grown, which is nice to see. So we're still, and so is Sacramento. We're not going to bother about what industries get placed down. It doesn't really concern us. What we are going to concern ourselves with is getting this express line up and running. And we'll put a supply tower about there. Yeah, that'll be fine. Now, we will double track this at some point, but for now we can just have a single train bombing between the two. So, San Francisco to LA, passengers and mail only. We'll use the Rensselaer. Rail cars will have those just for the increased profits. We have no personnel available to increase its speed, so hopefully this train will be enough to get an express rating straight away. I think we'll need to deploy one of them. Yes, just as long as we have an express connection, we're fine. We need to connect some more of the industries to our network, so we're going to do that in a cheeky little way by connecting industries with nice, short, cheap connections like this. Oh, we have another one here we can connect in cheaply. So that should be 7, as soon as we can afford to pay for that track, of course. And then we just need one more cheap connection, and we'll go for the sugar over there. It should be nice and cheap. So we need to wait for 40,000 so we can get the next station. I wanted to click the train there, not the town. So it isn't classed as a express train at this point. Still can't get any staff for this train yet. We have enough to connect into the sugar over here, and as you can see we've got a nice easy connection for this. There we go. Now all that can be deleted. You don't have to keep them. As long as you tick into 8 you can then do what you want with them. So we'll get rid of those just to recoup some costs. It didn't cost us a lot, but I'd rather have the money for something else where we can. San Francisco and Sacramento are still growing. We have no suitable freight for this vehicle, so that's going all the way from Reading to the warehouse. Let's have a look at that. Okay, yeah, we don't want it. Do we? Yes, no, it's on a separate line, so it can wait. So let's just change them to make sure they are actually waiting. Why you're going from Reading to Gold Beach? Why on earth are you going that way? What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing that. Go that way. And then after Gold Beach, come that way.
Thanks to your work, San Francisco is on the way to becoming a real metropolis.
That's weird. Well, do you know what? Let's just delete that. We don't need it anymore. We've got that connection. It was just a little additional. So those trains are going to get a little bit grumpy that they have nowhere to go. But that's fine, because guess what? We're just going to sell them anyway. Is that the train I'm clicking on? Yes, it is. Where's the other one? There you are. Let's get rid of you. What do we want to unlock next? Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, let's get that.
The talks with the politicians are ongoing,
So Sacramento and San Francisco are both still expanding. We've nearly got enough to get the university in San Francisco, which is fantastic. At this point, I'm going to replace all of our locomotives with the Dragon. Well, not all of them. We don't want to replace the Rensselaer. What we do want to do is replace the Philadelphias. There we go. And just to get rid of the constant pop-ups, we will also start putting down some maintenance buildings in our stations. We can afford to do that. Can we also expand this industry? Yep, let's do that as well. Just so our trains don't have to wait quite as long as they are doing for a full load. We've got a bonus for a new industry in Sacramento if we wanted to avail ourselves of that. However, I'm not too concerned by that. Research, let's get that one with a view to getting this one next. How are we doing on our tasks? Yeah, not doing too bad. We could build universities soon in San Francisco. Sacramento is still growing. And let's help that growth with a museum as soon as we're able. There we go. So who's now complaining about no suitable freight? Well, let's make sure you come with a full load and that'll get rid of that annoying pop-up. So this could do with expanding, Mr. AI, if you could be so kind. Who do we have here? Tunnel construction. Nope. I'm not planning on building any tunnels in this episode, so we don't need him. You still don't have an express rating yet. San Francisco has grown, so we can now build the university. Just need to wait for an extra 50,000 and then we'll put you down. There we go. That's that task. Still doing well here. And we're very close to getting that. Let's get that for the cheaper trains when we're replacing them. Okay. Yeah, because we'll save them. We'll make up the cost in replaced trains eventually, so it's worth spending a little bit more. If we could put down a sawmill in this town, that would be great. We are delivering logs nearby, so it makes sense. We'll get that for the extra passengers there. Do we have, what's that, locomotive requirements? Nope, don't need to worry about that. We don't need a saboteur, so let's close that down. Come on, get me to that 200,000 so I can put the sawmill down. There we go. Let's build ourselves a sawmill for the bonus. And we are supplying logs down here, so it makes sense. Okay, let's see about double tracking this now. Ooh, we just can't afford it, but we're not too far off. Ah, and we have a problem there. Okay, so we're going to have to go on the outside of the track, which is fine. We can do that. And there we go. Which way are you heading, Mr. Train? You're heading that way. So let's make sure we put the signals on the right side. And then what we're going to do is duplicate this train a couple of times. Where's it gone? Where are you? There you are. Just for the profits it's going to generate for us. We could expand that for extra income. You can't be expanded yet, but you're running at full utilization, so the beer output has increased there nicely. Okay, so we got the gold check mark for that as well, which is fantastic. And now we can build a line all the way up to Promontory Point, and that is the final task in terms of date that we need to achieve. Transport 50 people from San Francisco to Promontory Point without stopping. Now this is going to be a very, very, very long line, as you can imagine, So it's going to be very, very, very expensive to do. So what we're going to do then is make a start early. And how do we want to handle this? Well, there's no connection. They could pass through the warehouse. They could come this way. Shall we have them do that? Because it doesn't matter if it doesn't have to be an express line. So how slow or how long it takes them is irrelevant as long as we get it within the time frame for the gold tick mark. That's all we need to worry about. So yeah, let's have them share some line here just to save on costs and get it up and running sooner rather than later. Now once we get out of here, it is a lot smoother in terms of the terrain. As you can see, there are still some ups and downs, but it's not nearly as bad as it is on the west coast, on the western side of those mountains. So here we can do longer intervals between our track markers without having to worry about the game trying to give us 1,000,001 bridges and tunnels. Although we do want to have a bridge just here as we go into Promontory Point. As we can see, 677,000 for us to construct this line. I think we should be able to pay off and reissue our bonds, and I think that should give us enough to cover this. So let's just check. We just short of enough to pay off. Let's see, shouldn't take long to accumulate the interest. There we go. And then if we pay off that bond as well and again reissue it at a higher value, we can now pay for the track. So now we can double track this, and hopefully we're not going to have any collisions along the way. And we'll just double track it to there. 434,000. We do have one collision, of course we do. So what we're going to have to do instead is that, and then come back out and finish off the journey like this. 300,000 shouldn't take us too long. What do we want in terms of research? Let's see here. I would like to get the Rogers American actually, because that should guarantee that express line that we have to LA. So let's just finish off this line here. Put some signals down along that stretch. We also want some signals on this stretch. In terms of supply towers, we have 1 and 2. However, we are going to need some on this side, so we'll put another one there, and we'll put one more just before this little salt flats here, round about there. And then we want to set up a line that's passengers and mail only between San Francisco. We got the express connection without the Rogers American. That's nice. So yep, you're doing exactly what you should be doing, unlike the train we had from Gold Beach there. That was doing something extremely silly. We may as well have the Rensselaer for this, and what the heck, let's give them dining cars and mail cars. Because we're never going to get a full load of passengers down here anyway. And let's just spam out a good host of trains to run down here. We may as well get the Rogers American now, because what the heck, we have the availability of it, so why not? So we're going to have a bit of traffic here while these trains make their way through this busy section of track, but that's fine. What's left on our tasks? It is literally just transporting the 50 people to Promontory Point, so these trains will take care of that. And what we can do in fact as well is actually just spam out a load more. Yeah, it's going to make the track very, very busy, but what the heck, as soon as they've dropped off a total of 50, we don't have to worry about how busy it is, because we are done. So now we really are in just a position where we sit back and we wait for these trains to drop off an accumulated total of 50 people, and once they've done that, we have won. We will do it within a gold checkmark time frame of that I should say. Of that I am very certain. And if you look, we're only halfway through 1864, so theoretically we could still be working on this task. Yes, we'd not get a gold for it, we would get green, but I think that just demonstrates how fast we have achieved this, or we will achieve this when it comes to it. What do we have over here? Nothing I'm that bothered about. What we need is these trains to clear this warehouse and get on their way, and they are doing it slowly. They are filtering through, but it's just taking a little while. But as we can see, we've got a couple up here already on their way, and some over here, some here. So yeah, they are making their way through. It's just a little slow because of the traffic build-up around here, but that's fine. Nothing else we need to worry about, of course. We know that for a fact. I don't care now if San Francisco grows or dwindles. Likewise, Sacramento, you can do whatever the heck you want at this point. We're not interested. For shits and giggles at this point, if you wanted to, you could start buying out a competitor. Don't need to, of course, but if you wanted to, that's something to do to pass the time, I suppose. But I'm happy enough just to leave that. Research, what the heck, we may as well get increased money off our passengers. Again, not that it's really going to affect us, because I'm fairly certain we're about to finish. That breakdown's unfortunate. Let's just give it a maintenance building there. Yeah, it's going to mean the passengers aren't getting... In fact, no, let's not. Let's get rid of the maintenance building. We don't need it. Instead, let's get rid of that train, what's in the way. So you're also in the way, so we'll get rid of you. Not that you're blocking anything in, of course, but we'll just get rid of you anyway. How many passengers is that? 15 out of, well, 14 out of 50. So we're not too far off now. What train has broken down? You're not blocking anything, so you can break down as much as you want, my friend. I think the trains we have here are going to be enough to see us through to the goal. Let's just have a look. 22. Yeah, 20. Yeah, probably. More than likely. Because we do have more on their way. Just that we have to wait for them to get there. That's the hold up now. Do we want to research anything? Well, not really. It doesn't matter, does it? We're just killing time at this point. So we're just 12 passengers short. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that just one passenger? However, how many is it per carriage? Let's have a look what we're up to at the moment. 43. You have 1, so let's see if this increases to 44. It must be 2. So all we need is another 3 trains. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're done. Don't know why I keep clicking the research screen. We don't need anything. Sacramento is... There we go. Never mind. I was going to say Sacramento is still growing, which it is, but it's largely irrelevant now. Let's see. Did we get the gold tick? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, we did. There we go. 9 out of 9, 20, 30 rating. Just over 2 years to do that. 9.2 million, 54 rail lines, 12 stations, 3,364 miles of track, and just under 200 train wagons on duty in our network. So there we go. That's how you get the president rating on that one. It's not the only strategy, it's not the only way to do it, but as you can see, we did it in 2 years, which is pretty quick actually. I'm quite pleased with that sort of time frame, 2 years for that one. So I hope you found it useful. If this is one that you have been struggling with, or perhaps you're just searching for an alternate strategy. Obviously that warehouse we had outside of Sacramento was what did it for us, because then rather than having lines everywhere running into both Sacramento and San Francisco, we centralized it with the warehouse, which was able to supply Sacramento at the same time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. We have now finished the campaign, so next we will start moving it into some of the scenarios. I'm not sure where we'll start. We'll do it at a, we'll do it fairly randomly. I think there's not going to be any particular order. However, we will finish the scenarios in the USA. That's all of them in the USA. Then we'll hop over to Mexico, UK and Ireland, Canada, Germany, France, Northern Europe, Australia, and finally Japan. I think that's all of the expansions. I don't think I've missed anything. So I hope you're looking forward to that. For now though, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.